Hey guys, just a short video today where I want to make you aware of a stealth buff that was made for the Tech.5 item. It got a really interesting and wacky change in Repentance Plus that wasn't documented in the patch notes. But to better explain what I'm talking about, we first have to go back in time to the good old Afterbirth Plus days. This might be quite unknown to most people, since it is very easy to overlook, and I myself never knew about this either. But the item actually had a very low chance to trigger a special effect. To be precise, every time you shoot a Tech.5 laser, there was a chance that the laser would come out with one of 5 item or trinket effects at random. The 5 possible effects were Spoonbender, Tiny Planet, Rubber Cement, Mysterious Liquid and Wiggle Worm. The chance for this to trigger was ridiculously low. I can confirm this because it took me nearly 30 minutes of constant shooting to get footage of all 5 effects. This rare trigger ability was basically there to add to the flavor of the Tech.5 item, since it is supposed to be the prototype of the regular technology item, but in an incomplete form that has many malfunctions and bugs. But here comes the weird part. When we jump forward to the Repentance release to test the item again, we will see that this hidden item effect is suddenly completely gone. There are no random item effect triggers at all, no matter how long you shoot. The reason for this was only discovered and confirmed by the developers very recently. The truth is, the Tech.5 item was actually supposed to already receive a little buff/rework when Repentance originally released, but the intended change never worked due to a mistake in the item's code. So let's jump over to the current version of the game, Repentance Plus, where the intended buff is finally in the game, despite never being listed in the patch notes. First of all, the flavorful random tier effect trigger is back in the item. However, there are 2 massive changes to it that make it more interesting. Most importantly, instead of only being able to trigger the 5 items and trinkets that I mentioned earlier, it can now fire lasers with nearly every tier effect in the entire game at random. I can obviously not show you all of them in this video, but you get the idea. Status effects like Poison or Fear, explosions from something like Ipecac or Firemind, obstacle destruction from Sulfuric Acid, random light beams from Holy Light or even demonic hands spawning from the Little Horn item, you name it. Basically everything you can think of, Tech.5 is now able to unleash. But it is important to mention that if the hidden effect triggers, it will always only have exactly one random tier effect, never multiple of them at once. This first part of the rework is already a fun buff to the item, but the second one is also very important, which is a change to the proc chance of the glitch effect. Instead of being ridiculously low like in pre-Repentance, the effect now has a respectable 5% chance to activate whenever the item fires a laser. This chance is not affected by your luck stat, but I think it is high enough to be relevant and most importantly fun to use without being overpowered. I'm really curious, did you know about this rare malfunction trigger the item had prior to Repentance? I honestly had no idea that this was in the game, which is why I like the Repentance Plus buff even more, as it makes the effect way more noticeable and relevant. Anyway, that was it for the video. I really hope you enjoyed it and I will see you again in the next one. Bye!
He's the number one,
Isaac!
God's favorite son. His flowing robes reach down from heaven.